So we
Right.
haven't been here in 19 months.
Yeah, yeah. I was seeing today. It was like a 1 year thing. The highest it's been in a year. Aloha and welcome to the Crypto Power Hour with Epic Creations. Today we're joined by special guest all the way from Seattle, Washington, the man, the myth, the legend, Trader Ryan Cunningham. How's it going, Ryan?
Going good.
Awesome.
Things are good. Just got back from the movie theater in the mall with the wife. So,
Great.
yeah,
So Bitcoin passed 40K today.
we did. It was in the mall trying to focus on my wife. I was also trying to make sure all my trades were set
Right.
because it was moving.
Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of scared this morning when I saw it because it was dipping back down, and I was like, "Oh
Mhm.
no!" That was probably like here. I was like, "Oh no, oh no, no, that's the daily." So it was here. So I saw it and I said, "Oh no, hopefully it doesn't keep going down." And then just all of a sudden, an hour later, it turned around, just started pumping again, like it never even happened. Yeah.
That's that's kind of I don't know if you've noticed. I feel like that is the pattern every Sunday. It'll either be flat or a little bit down when you wake up in the morning. So at least for my time, Pacific time, I'm going to church Sunday morning, and it's usually when I get out of church, it's a little down, and I get out of church usually most days. I went to the early service today, but usually I go to the 11 service, so we get done about 12:30, and it's always about 1:30 Pacific time. It all of a sudden starts moving. It'll either start moving up a lot or down a lot, depending on the week.
Mm.
But lately, this whole time, anytime it's pumping, anytime you get a movement that week or the week after, you'll always get some movement on Sunday. And if it was an up week, you're going to get up on Sunday. If it was a down week, you're going to get down on Sunday. But it's always like that last 3 hours before the weekly close, as I've noticed, is always when it moves because they always, the Bears and the Bulls are always fighting for the weekly
Big
close.
right tug
And
of
so
war.
usually it's never more than like 3.5 hours before the close. It'll be quiet or it'll be like a little bit down leading
Mm.
into 3 hours before the weekly close. And then all of a sudden it'll move. And that's what it did today is it started moving at about like I don't know what. Well, it started moving about like 12:30 or 1 my time, so 3.5 hours before the close, and then it really started moving 2.5 hours before the close.
Yeah, 1:30 p.m. there. I think that's 11:30 a.m. here. So yeah, that was about the
Seven,
time that I
yeah,
looked at it and it started pumping.
yeah.
And I usually don't trade. I do futures trading perpetuals, and I usually don't trade on the weekends, just because
Mhm.
it's always choppy on the weekends.
Right.
And you never know which direction it's gonna go. But on Monday, it's and like any other day of the week besides the weekend, it's pretty easy to tell, pretty predictable.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I was pretty glad to see it going over 40K today because that was a huge thing that we needed to do, and we
Hmm.
closed it. Did we close above 40K? Oh, right at 40K. We closed right at 40K. So the new
Oh,
day
nice.
starts. It was 3 hours and 14 minutes ago. It would be 2 p.m. my time is 12 a.m. UTC. So that would be the end of that candle right there,
Okay.
right at 40,000.
Yeah.
So
I
that's a beautiful candle. Just
pulling up
pumped,
my
pumped
just
up
pulling
right
up my
after that. By 3
nice.
o'clock my time, it was way up, and it's
Yeah.
still way up.
Yeah, that weekly. Setting the weekly over 40,000 is a big deal. If it did close over that, I'm trying to see what chart. 4 hours. Yeah, so mine's saying it opened at 39.9. Oh no, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Closed at 39.989, so it was just barely short of 40. So we can't, according to this, we can't officially call it. That's according to Bitstamp. I mean, maybe other ones might have recorded a little bit higher. You got Bitstamp there, yeah. So
Yeah, I got Bitstamp. Oh
yeah,
yeah,
you get the
yeah,
same chart that I have up. So yeah,
yeah,
not quite
right there.
40. Yeah,
Yep. But
that's
it
all
was it
what it
was
works.
enough. It was enough momentum to just send it past that
Yeah,
resistance
it means
line. Oh,
it means
at
we got to wait
40.
another week to say officially that we closed above 40 for a week for
Oh, the
weekly.
weekly, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think by either tomorrow or Tuesday we'll have a daily close above 40, but I don't. We can't officially say we have a weekly yet.
Right. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, does your strategy change if Bitcoin's only up, or does it stay the same?
Uh, so from the strategies that I've described to you, the way that I trade, like the auto trade, like should I gotta come up with a better term than auto trades because I almost sometimes I call it dummy trading because there is no changing, there is no like it's a solid rule. It happens the same way every time. It doesn't matter if it's going up or down. It's the same moves. So there's no emotion, no, and it's like as long as I can teach somebody to auto trade, like if I could design a bot to set the trades for me, I'd do that because there's literally nothing that changes in it ever. It just buys on the way down, sells on the way up. And so no, it doesn't change. Sometimes just if I'm throwing some extra in or something for like buy and hold or something like that, that might change depending on what I see in the charts. But as far as my two trading strategies that I use, the one on Bitcoin, the one on Ethereum that I've described, where I buy and sell every 2% on Bitcoin and I sell every 5% and buy every 10% drop on Ethereum, like those stay the same regardless. It's every 2% and every 5 and 10%.
Okay, so even just during the daytime, any day, like when it's going up, say you'll have an order set for 2% below the current price, and then
Yep.
that'll fill.
Yeah. So like as of right now, we're at highs that we haven't been at in a while, so I don't have a lot of sells set, but I can even just go through and show you. Like this will be probably look kind of crazy, but let's see here. So this will be like my buys and sells for Robinhood. I mean, if you could see the dates, you could see there's probably 1 to 3 of those every day. Those are buys and sells, and they just keep going and going and going. And so,
Nice.
basically, the right now I have a limit sell set at 41,616 because my last buy was technically a small. I set a limit and bought below, but my last buy was 40,800 because every $5,000 I reset where that 2% limit is. So 35,000 is every 2% for that would be 750, right? So it's every seven, or no, every 700. Sorry, every 700 I set a buy, and then once I get to 40, I reset that scale. So then it means every 800 I set a buy. And so I basically my last two buys were 40,000 and 40,800. So I have a sell set for 41,616, which is 2% above 40,800, and then I have another sell set for 40,800 because that's exactly 2% above the 40,000. So, um, yeah, and I basically keep setting those. I have every 2% I buy and then I sell once that buy goes up 2%. And then I have right now buys set all the way down to 31,000 something, 31,600, 800, whatever the my 2% markup is from there.
Oh,
And
okay.
so
So it's basically you just have it every 2%. It's not just 2% from the current
every
price. It's every two
Every two
percent.
percent, right?
I
Like,
see.
yeah,
I
no, and
see.
I mean, I don't have enough money to cover it all the way up to $1 million or whatever, so I don't have 2%. So I'm just setting those as the price goes higher. I'm setting those buys.
Mm-hmm.
You have right now. I have enough in
Oh,
there to
okay.
cover buys. I've got enough to cover 2% buys all the way from the current price down to about 25,000 right now. So as long as we don't crash below 25,000, like my strategy will still continue working. And
Nice, and that'll average
the
you down too, which is good.
what was that?
That'll average you down too. Your
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
the average
Well, and that's
price.
what I always say about my strategy is best case scenario, I'm selling and making profits. Worst case scenario is I hold more Bitcoin than I was planning to, which is that a bad thing?
No.
Like, Exactly. And so, I mean, if it crashes and I just buy every 2% down, I might get stuck holding that Bitcoin for a while, but I'm holding Bitcoin. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, you can't go
like
wrong
what's
holding
what's
Bitcoin.
what's the bad part of
That's for
that? Yeah,
sure.
what's the bad part of that? It's money that I already set aside to invest and trade with. So it's, you know, there's nothing wrong with holding Bitcoin. It's going to go
Yep.
back up eventually. As long as you believe it will go back up eventually, this trading strategy doesn't fail.
Yep.
It only fails if Bitcoin went to zero one day, which would never happen. So,
Right.
yeah.
So it sounds like you're
So
just
I have it
accumulating.
yeah, when it's going down, I'm accumulating. When it's going up, I'm selling and taking profits. But the thing is, though, as it's going down, I'm accumulating. Even if it drops, if it were to drop 10% in the next, say, 48 hours, right? I would
Mm-hmm.
have at least 5 buys within there. But what if during that 10% it made a drop? It dropped 6%, went back up 2%, and then went down the additional 6%, right? So now I've actually made a profit. I made that one little 2% profit in the middle of that down and up. So that's why one of the reasons I developed this strategy is I was like, there's got to be a way to take advantage of volatility.
Yeah.
Like if it drops, like even if Bitcoin were to drop 70%, it doesn't go. Nothing ever goes straight down like a rock. Like even it'll go down like this, right? It kind of bounces down. And so even as it's dropping, I might be making like
Right.
2%, 2%, 2%, 2% every time it bounces. And so I've made profits and accumulated Bitcoin on the way down. And
Nice.
then on
Yeah.
the way back up, on the way back up, I'm selling and making profits again. And so it's kind of like I said, as long as you have enough money to survive the crashes, it's foolproof. Like
Right.
the only way there's only two things that would ever make this trading strategy fail. Number one is if the asset never held value. So if it went to zero and stayed at zero. If you bought into a crypto that, was worth a lot now, and in 5 years it disappeared and was worth almost nothing, you lose all your money because it would never go back up again to make those profits again. The number two is you have to have enough money, you have to have enough funds to survive the crashes, to buy all the way down. And
Right.
even then, if you didn't have the funds, all you would do was you would stop buying for a while, and you'd have to wait till the price came back up. Like it's not really failing. It's just you have to learn to be patient because you can't access that money till it comes back up and you can sell. So
Right.
yeah, so that's the one. I don't know if I should say a quick explainer for anyone watching what the strategy is. I mean, I've basically explained it, but that's basically it. Is I have buys set for every 2% drop, and then as soon as a buy happens, I immediately set a sell order for that buy at a 2% sell, and so a 2% take profit. So and then I always immediately reinvest that money in, and so it keeps growing. And so like take just a I wish I was playing with this kind of money, but take like I'm just a square, just a good square number. So say I bought $1,000 at, let's say we're at 40,000 right now. So let's say 40,000. It goes up to 40,800, and I sell. So my $1,000 is turned into $1,020. That's my 2% profit. So I bought the 40,000, set a sell order at 40,800. But then as soon as I sell, at 40,800, I'm going to set a buy again. But this time, instead of buying $1,000 at $40,000, I'm going to set this order at, depending on where I am in my investing. Uh, I could reinvest the whole thing or part of it. So I could put in 1,010 this time, or I could put in 1,020 or whatever. It depends on how much I want to take out and keep for myself as profit versus how much I actually want to reinvest. And so but sometimes it'll stay in a range for a really long time, right? Like how many times has Bitcoin hit 40,000? Probably hit 40,000 if you count 2% moves up and down from 40,000. It's probably done at least 20 times, right? If
Yeah.
not more. I mean, how many times did we hit just a few months ago? How many times did we hit 25,000, 30,000, 25,000, 30,000, 25,000, 30,000? How many boom, 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 boom? How many 2% did I take in there? And so
Yeah.
even
It's
though
been
I might
bouncing
just be
around a lot.
buying $1,000, and again that's a made up number, but I'm buying $1,000 at $40,000, I'm buying $1,000. That might go to 1,000, 20,000, 40,000, 60,000, 80, 1,100 before the price goes ahead and moves on. and goes up to 50,000 and stays up there. And so I might be making 2% profit 20 times on a single price point before the price leaves and goes up. And so that's why it works, is like, because I'm in a chat group and I sent the screenshot, the one that I just showed you of all my buys and sells. I sent a screenshot of one of those buys. He was like, it was a 250 buy, if that tells you about where my buys actually are. But he said, "Oh, that seems like a lot of investment for a 2% profit." And I was like, "Yeah, well, you'd think it was a lot. I mean, it is a lot of investment for a 2% profit, but that 250 that I bought it at started as 150 buy. So I've actually made profit. I'm essentially at $155 profit on this trade at this point, because I just keep reinvesting that, and that trade keeps getting bigger and it feeds itself. So I don't have to add any more. I had to make the initial one-time investment, and then it just keeps, every time I get a 2% in that range, it gives me an extra 2%.
Invest, set it and forget it, because and then it
Mhm.
starts making money for you.
Yeah, and
Passive
I don't have to
income.
completely forget it. I have to set a new buy or set a new sell every time I make a buy or make a sell. But it takes me 10 seconds or less to set that buy or sell, and I get a notification on my phone when a trade is completed. And so it literally, I get the notification, boop, 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 and then I'm done, and then it's set until the next time the price hits one of those points, the down or the up.
Yeah, it'd be nice if you could make a bot to do that for you, but
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I would use it for sure.
Yeah, if I could figure out a way to do that, that would be nice. But I don't know what platform would be best to do that on, and
Hmm.
exactly. I know a little bit of coding, but I'm sure I could figure it out. But I we
Yeah,
need to know
it
what
would have to
platform
be
I
like
could
an
use.
AI because it needs to have some logic,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. It's
So
I guess kind of a complicated algorithm, and so it would
right,
definitely need that. But yeah,
yeah,
it's cool. It's cool because I made the initial investment, and now that investment just keeps making 2% profits for me. And it's
nice.
not like it will print that money forever, but it doesn't necessarily happen rapidly. It depends on the volatility of Bitcoin. So like there's right now the
So
last
you're just loving it now, yeah.
yeah the last month or two I'm usually making two, well, probably, so in a 7-day week I'm probably making 15 or so take profits. And but a couple months ago when it was flat, it was really really flat, I was making like maybe two a week. So
Yeah,
it's definitely a patient strategy. It's not a make money overnight strategy, but it's a very sustainable strategy that can make money over the long run, over a few years. Could make you some real good money.
yeah, those little gains add up for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. So yeah, just if you want to take a look right here, I made this channel here, this Bitcoin. This is the weekly. I made this channel, and it looks like we've broken out of the channel, broken this resistance. So it
Yeah, above that
completed
resistance.
the
Like I said,
it completed this parabolic move right here from 15 all the way to 40. So that was the first parabolic move. I'm looking at a second one that goes up to 53,000. And we're halfway there already. Look at that. And so I was just wondering, do you think that we're gonna enter back into the channel? It could happen, but it could just go straight up. What is your prediction?
uh, yeah. So just looking at that, I honestly think we are so close to the halving, and I think we're so close to ETFs, which are basically a sure thing at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's looking like first or second week of January. It's going to happen. All signs point to yes. The betting markets say like 98% plus chance of it happening.
Yep.
Uh, it's yeah. So on the 8th or 5th of January, yeah, exactly. So
Yep.
it's I know I believe it was Grayscale. It might have been BlackRock. I believe it was Grayscale actually just applied for like permission to advertise their ETF, which is not something that would be happening unless they thought it was about to go through.
Yep.
Um, and it's looking like all the rumors are saying it's looking like it's all going to happen. Like there's going to be like six of them or however many you do. They're all going to get approved all at once. It's going to bring in A lot of interest. The fact that we're about to be, we could be at 50K by then because we got to, with the Santa rally, stuff like that. And the fact that we're 5 months away from the halving. And, right now everyone's thinking about ETFs. So it's starting to pump. It's the run up before the news. I don't necessarily think we are going to re enter that channel. I think I have a, let's see, 1 day chart. Weekly chart. I have a resistance drawn at 42,979. And so on the weekly chart, basically, I'm looking at, I don't know, you want to switch to the weekly? You can follow along what I'm talking about. Okay. Can you zoom out a bit so you can see April and May of 2022 in there? Basically, zoom out on the weekly till you can see the all-time high, just past the all-time high.
Yeah.
So I have right, let's see, so we had two highs. We had a high in March of 2022, kind of like a bouncing high, and that was 48,246. If you can zoom in on that, the first little peak after the
This one?
drop there. So just to the right of that.
Or this one?
Just right there. Yeah. So that's a 48 high. I believe that was when Do Kwon was buying like $1 billion of Bitcoin a day to try to have as terror reserves.
Uh-huh.
And we bounced. He took us like it was jumping like $1,000 a day because he was buying $1 billion every morning and it was shooting up. And then when Terra collapsed, that's when we left that 48K right there.
Right.
And so we dropped down. So if you look at,
Terra collapsed and
yeah,
it ran down all the way to 20. I remember that. And
yeah,
just a
yes, but the
few
two resistance
weeks, huh?
lines I have drawn are those two peaks right there. One just to the left of where your mouse is now, which is at about 42 and some change.
And then was it right here, FTX? Was that FTX right
Uh,
there?
FTX was November. FTX was the bottom actually. It wasn't the.
Oh yeah, November of 2022.
Yeah, FTX actually. You would think FTX led to a
Right
crash, but it's
there.
probably that red arrow that you're looking at right
That's
there.
the
It was
one
a
right
small
there. Yep.
crash because we were already at the bottom, and so because that was our bottom, like the week after FTX was our bottom, so we only
Yeah.
crashed from like 18,000 to 15,900. It was a very
Yeah.
small crash.
I remember that was devastating for me when I watched it happen cuz
Uh huh.
just going from 20 to 15, 16 so quick. I was like, "Oh no. This is the end for
Yeah.
Bitcoin." But then sure
So that
enough,
was
2 months later it turned around.
yeah. But so if you go back and look at those two peaks before that, there's a peak
Mhm.
right there and another peak right there. Those peaks are about 42 and some change, and then 48 and some change. I think those are two major resistances. So I
Uh-huh.
think right now that's our resistance. We run up to about 42.5, or let me see, what do I have? I've got 42,979 on here as my resistance. So
Oh
we run up
yeah,
to about
that does
we
look
run
like
up to
a
about
resistance
43,
line.
and then we maybe bounce back down, retest that channel. I would say is the most likely scenario, and
Uh-huh.
then we bounce off that channel up to 48. Depending on what time that happens, there we might be close enough to the ETF where it just keeps going, or we might bounce off of 48, come back down a little bit, and then break 50. And then by then, I expect the ETF to be happening. And then I think once we break 50, 50 is a nice round number that creates FOMO for the general public. And you
Mhm.
have FOMO plus ETF, and I think we are very quickly again at all-time highs.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. There's I mean do you know the what happened with gold when they released the gold ETF? Like what the
Uh,
value of it did?
yeah, I mean, I think we talked about that the last time that we were on a call, the one that didn't get recorded. But let me look that. Actually, I don't know if Trading View is going to have that. I'm gonna
Yeah,
look it up here, but it's probably nobody can see what's on my screen. Um,
you could share your screen. Oh wait, no,
I'm
it's on your
actually
other screen.
I'm
Yeah,
using two different computers
I
here,
see.
so I
I
can't
see.
share my screen.
Okay.
I've got I do all my trading on my desktop, and then I have my webcam on my laptop. So I have to talk to you on the laptop, and the screens don't connect.
Okay, no
Uh,
worries.
yeah. So let's see here. Gold all-time chart.
So yeah, we
100
definitely
years.
stepped into this other channel here that I drew. So now I'm gonna move this channel down if I can grab it. There we go. So
So the first gold ETF launched on November 18th, 2004.
okay.
So if you can pull up, you should be able to pull it up in TradingView there. You should be able to pull up a gold chart.
Yeah, I got one right over here. Um. Whoa. There it is. Gold. Oh
Okay.
wow. Oh, it's really wow, gold's really going.
So the
That's been
first
that's
of
been a solid resistance for gold for a few years. And it
yeah,
finally
well,
broke it. That's great.
based on inflation too, gold's actually been going down because money is worth a lot less than it was 3 years ago, and gold's at about the same price it was. So, uh, gold's not the best asset anymore. Okay, but I'm looking at the price here. Gold was on the 1st of November 2004. Gold was opened at 428. Within 4 years, it had gone to 925. Within another 4 years, we hit the recession then, and so with another 4 years, we had gone to $1,800. So we were at 18. We had a high of 1920 in September of 2011.
Right.
So what are we at now? We just broke 2000.
Yep,
So
we're at
we've gone up $100.
2146.
We've gone up $100 in 12 years while inflation's been 20%.
Yeah.
Ugh. But
Yeah.
so I mean that's to say gold's not the best thing to invest in anymore because it doesn't hold value like it used to. Um, but that's not the question that you asked. The question is what happened to gold. So what happened to gold is gold within 8 years went from gold, which had been mostly flat for had been trading in. Let's see if we pull way
A
back.
long time.
Yeah, had been trading in the like 600 to 200 range.
Since the early
And
80s.
yeah,
Jeez.
basically
Or
since we went off the gold standard, gold had been trading in the $200 to $600 range for decades. We got an
right.
ETF, and within 4 years, the price had quadrupled, or actually no, yeah, so it had about quadrupled. So 4x.
So,
And that's gold, which is obviously a lot harder and it's a lot harder of an asset to trade than Bitcoin. It doesn't have the volatility. It doesn't move at the speed of Bitcoin. If you want to buy physical gold, it has to be shipped to you, sometimes around the world. So the amount of money that can go, and actually here, I was just looking at it. It says that November 18th, 2004, they launched the first gold shares which surpassed $1 billion in assets within its first 3 trading days. I'm pretty sure when they launched the Bitcoin futures ETF, the first one a couple years ago, didn't it hit like $1 billion or $3 billion or something within like 12 hours? And that was a futures ETF. Like, what do you think is going to happen when they launch, a spot ETF? Like it's the amount of money that is going to come in from ETFs is going to be insane. And I mean, if you took the gold 4x example, so
yeah.
4x in 8 years, that would put us right now at $160,000 in 8 years. Um,
So it's gonna probably, um, you think at least 4x, because Bitcoin they call it digital gold, right?
yeah, well,
So
that's what I was saying. Gold's a lot harder to buy. If you want to actually buy physical gold, you have to have it shipped to you. You have to put it in a safe.
right,
Versus if I want to buy Bitcoin, I
unless
can
it's a
have it
gold
to me.
ETF, right?
Yeah, I can have Bitcoin to me instantaneously. Like I can actually have it recorded on the ledger that I have it within 9 minutes. Versus if I buy gold, it's going to take weeks to get to me, especially if I want gold bars. Like
Right.
what would I have to do with that? Whereas if I want to buy a Bitcoin, all I need to do is have internet access and a wallet address, which takes 5 minutes to set up. And so I think money will flow into Bitcoin more. I think more people are smarter investors nowadays. I think when the gold ETF went live, there was no. You remember when E Trade came out when they had the talking baby in the Super Bowl commercial?
Yeah, you trade. Yep.
That was the first time that you or I, like a regular person, both of us were not old enough actually at that point to buy any stocks, but that was the first time. Like people don't realize what the world was like before E Trade. E Trade was the first time that you could sit at your computer and buy stocks. Like you used to have to call your stockbroker and tell them to buy something for you, and most people didn't do that unless they had a lot of money. Most people just had a retirement account.
And your
So this,
stockbroker is in New York.
yes, yeah, you
Yeah.
call somebody at the company, and then they call somebody on the trading floor.
Right.
Maybe that was a little bit more advanced in the 90s and 2000s, but in like before the 90s, like that's literally what happened. Stocks were actually physically traded on the floor with paper.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's so wild.
and so, but this gold ETF opened in 2004. So I think things were a little bit more advanced by then. It was a lot more computers. But still, what I'm saying though is the average person did not invest. The average person had a retirement account, but they didn't have their own Robinhood account. They didn't have their own public account. They didn't have their own any of these things that they do now. And so when the ETF opened, it was probably just rich people and retirement accounts that bought into it. How many
Right.
people, how many companies, how many, like, because I'm definitely buying a little bit of it the day it comes out. I'm going to throw a few dollars into the ETF. I just got a great new job that I have two retirement accounts. I'm putting at least one of
Nice.
those. One of those is going to have a good percentage in a Bitcoin ETF when it goes live.
Okay.
And so when it does, like I'm putting money in and I'm directing that. And so people are smarter investors nowadays. People have more access. People have more money than they did in 2004. And
Mm-hmm.
people want Bitcoin. Like people want to buy Bitcoin, but there's no legal way for most, unless you do it the way that MicroStrategy does, there's no legal way, easy legal way for most companies to do it to buy Bitcoin. But an ETF is a very easy legal way to do it. The other thing that I think is also, I was thinking about this week. I think once the ETF is available, I think we are going to be significantly more stable. Number one, because I think Bitcoin will be a lot bigger and it's a lot harder to move a big asset. The other reason, though, is I was thinking this week because I've been saying it's going to be more stable because organizations are going to buy it, corporations are going to buy it, and they're a little less afraid of losing money. So they won't sell as quick. They won't panic sell like retail does. But then I started thinking about it. I started thinking about what's going to happen with these retirement accounts.
What?
They are going. What's going to happen is because a lot. I always use the example of grandma. Bitcoin won't go crazy until grandma can buy Bitcoin. When the
Yeah.
ETF is out, grandma will be able to buy Bitcoin because grandma doesn't understand the technology. Grandma doesn't understand exchanges, sexes, dexes. Grandma
Mm-hmm.
doesn't understand. Grandma's never going to keep a private key. Grandma's never going to do any of this stuff. But grandma can call her person at Charles Schwab and say, "My grandson told me about this Bitcoin thing, and I want some." But you know
Right.
what he's going to do? If a lot of them are probably going to say, "No, you should invest in Bitcoin. It's a waste of money." Blah blah blah. But the ones that do say, "Okay," they're not going to say, "Okay, we're going to put 100% of your retirement account in Bitcoin." They're going to say, like, "Let's put 2%.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put 5%." And so you know what happens the next time Bitcoin crashes? The next time we go into a bull or a bear market,
Grandma's buying.
Well, no, no. What happens is instead of grandma panic selling because she looks at this one number in her exchange, like retail buyers do, and they look at their Binance account and they go, "I just lost 80%. I have to sell and pay," or crash
Not a
actually
good
that's our whole
idea.
yeah. But if grandma has 2% of her account in Bitcoin and she sees a 1% drop in her total account value, is she gonna panic sell?
No.
No, because people panic sell when they see 10%, 20%. People panic sold in 2008 when the stock market crashed like 30%.
Right.
But but if Bitcoin crashes, but the rest of the market, the rest of your portfolio looks good, and you only have 2% because you don't really believe in Bitcoin, but you've heard it's this thing that you should invest in, you're not going to panic sell when your 2% drops 50% in a bear market. You do
Right.
that when your 100% does, but not when your 2% does. Uh, and so I think that the inclusion of ETFs are going to make it much more stable because there is going to be just so much more. Uh, people are going to have people that aren't exposed to Bitcoin now are going to have a limited exposure that will not make them panic and run away.
Yep. Yeah, it's good to be early. I mean, I think we're pretty early. If
Yeah.
not, maybe like middle early. But I think we're early
Mm-hmm.
because Grandma can't buy it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely good to be
Yeah.
here. Good to be early. I see somebody just jumped in. Red Kang 33. Good to see you there, man. Thanks for joining in. We were just going over the Bitcoin prices, all the other cool stuff.
We were talking about gold ETFs and what happened to the price of gold when the ETF was introduced, and how much more price. If you look at the gold price chart, it more than quadrupled in 8 years once the ETF was introduced, and the price had been pretty steady for decades before that. It had not really been moving much, and the ETF came out and it quadrupled. So BTC is going to do that a lot more than gold ever did because it's a lot more accessible.
So I see it going 4x from here is 160,000. So
Yeah,
that'd be a good start.
yeah, and I mean that would put us in 2032 when that happened. I think it'll be a lot more than a 4x because we're not even near the top for gold for the recent top for
So
Bitcoin,
that'd be
which
the
is
next halving, pretty much. 2032. Well, actually, that'd be
yeah. Well, no, there would be
two
two
more
halvings away.
halvings.
I don't
Yeah.
think. I don't think. I mean, I think we're probably going to be somewhere between 80 and 160,000 this halving. Could be more, but I'm a little bit more on the conservative side.
Yeah.
So I think if Bitcoin was a 4x in 8 years from now, as a bare minimum, I'd still take it. That'd still be awesome. But I think we're going to be there or close to there by this time, a year and a half, 2 years from now.
Right.
But like I said, I think having ETFs, making the asset bigger and making it so people can get into Bitcoin without being fully exposed, being just slightly exposed through an ETF with 2%, 5%, 1% of their retirement account, even when Bitcoin crashes, when it goes into a bear market, instead of dropping 70%, it might only drop 50% because people, if they're only exposed 1% to Bitcoin, they're not gonna panic sell when that 1% drops like they do right now. All people can only buy on exchanges, so they only see one crypto number. They don't see their whole portfolio number. So then when they see that one number, they panic sell.
Right. So, I just wanted to show you this real quick. Do you know about RenderCoin? It's been going crazy
Oh,
lately. Render is trending on Twitter right now. Render. So basically, Render is on the Ethereum network. They Let's see. Connects artists looking to render next generation 3D media with near unlimited GPUs in a decentralized global network. AI GPUs, the next render network. So they're a great company. I think they're doing great things, and they like it was like a month ago they were under $2, or not even a month ago, and now it went over $4 today. It's insane. Here, I'll pull up the chart.
I don't know if I've heard of it. I think AI art is going to be huge. I don't know.
It's super volatile.
Yeah,
So
I would
basically, what they
be
do is
in.
like they rent out like computer like GPU space so that people
Uh-huh.
that are rendering basically can use their services. So it's like a rent. They're
Okay.
like renting space in like a GPU to do renderings. I think is what uh, the gist of it is.
So where does the yeah?
So yeah, it
The
was
only thing I
up at $8 like few years ago. 2022,
mhm,
that's when it first released, I guess. Dropped all the way
mhm.
down, and then it's just been going crazy ever since the beginning of January. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would be interested into what the token is used for, like how it is, like because you can rent
Yeah.
out anybody can rent out server space
Right.
for
How it works in the ecosystem. Right.
yeah, because anybody, Amazon's got their cloud, everybody's got a cloud, and they can rent out server space, and it doesn't involve a token. So I'd be interested to see what the token does and why it's used and why it's of value or necessary or whatever. But I think AI art, AI rendering, and maybe you could use it to render video editing as well. Like that type of stuff is just going to continue to be huge and grow. So.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, I don't know anything about Render, but I mean it's on the Ethereum network, and it seems they said they've been around since 2017, according to the Twitter account that you just looked at. So,
Oh, nice.
um,
Yeah, I just found
yeah,
out about them this year, and I just, I think just reading about them, just like a brief overview of what they do, it's super
uh-huh,
bullish for me. I'm
yeah,
bullish on it, super bullish, and they're
I
in
get it.
like the top 50 coins on CoinMarketCap. So
Really, okay,
just recently they jumped up. They were like I think in the top 200, and then they jumped like to the top 50
hmm,
pretty quick, pretty quick.
okay, yeah. I mean, I don't know anything about this company in particular, but the space that they're in, I really like, and the fact that it does seem like they have a lot of interest. I wonder if they
Yeah,
have any like projects that they've demoed or anything that they
they're
people
doing
kind
this.
of
They're
cited.
going to be at the Miami Art Basel party thing going on in Miami, the crypto thing. So Dell's gonna be there. Dell, Render, Nvidia. So it's basically a lot of computer companies they work with. Yep, cool stuff. Anything else that you wanted to cover?
Um, I mean, not necessarily anything particular. I thought you were going to have a bunch of stuff to ask me about. I don't know. I mean, so Ethereum's pumping too. Obviously, I have actually honestly pulled back a lot from focusing on altcoins. I really only look at Bitcoin and Ethereum mostly. Like I've still got holdings in other stuff, but especially for now at the beginning of the market, altcoin pump will probably come later. I've really started just focused on the big two. And so like I'm looking at Ethereum now is
Yeah, Ethereum finally went over 2,000. I think yesterday.
mhm.
I've been 2,100. I was waiting for it to crack that resistance, and it did. I was very excited because I had a position open, and it finally went into profits. So 2229 is what it topped out at. Wait, that's back there.
Showing 22.
2235,
Is it really right now? Mine's not updating.
2229, somewhere in this area.
So I have a sell. It's the way it always works, right? I think I control the Bitcoin market because every time it will go up
Yeah.
and tap my sell and never trigger, and it'll go down and tap my buy and never trigger. Um, so I currently have a sell at 22.22, We
Okay.
have yesterday, it went up all the way, let's see, a high of 22.29. So it went over my sell, but of course didn't cover the spread. So,
Right.
I would have made $130 a couple hours ago if it had gone up like two more dollars. But of course, I set the market.
It will. It will though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, it definitely will. But I would have preferred to have it happen earlier because it makes me happy to see. So,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, no, I mean, I set the market. Trust me, every time I have a buy and a
Right.
sell, like you can see it kiss my buy and sell and never have it, never have it execute. So,
Yeah. I love it when to see this like when it just cracks this resistance line. It's
mhm.
so beautiful.
Use those dots for resistance lines.
Yeah, this is what the indicator draws
Oh,
on
okay.
there.
I just draw vertical lines. I like those ones that I showed you earlier. Those ones I was saying that I had earlier is just I zoom out on the weekly and I just find kind of peak tops and I just drop a vertical line right there. And it tells
Okay.
me, and then I usually I use a moving average. I have four moving averages on here. I believe it's a 20, a 50, a 100, and a 200. And I like watching those. It's crazy how well the charts respect moving average, especially when the charts are in a trend. Charts are going up or going down. Particularly if they're going up, I found they really like to respect the 3 hour 20 moving average, and then sometimes the 50 moving average. I
Okay.
I don't know. Do you have the full um, do you have the full trading view package? Like, can you add extra indicators on there?
No. I just have the regular
Okay.
free version.
I was gonna say if you had a
But
clean chart,
I
but
think I only have one I could just take this off real quick and put
okay.
one on.
Just look for one called MAs. It's called
The,
MAS.
the moving average
I believe it's just called MA. I don't even know if it's called anything else. But it's got
MA
four. It's got four moving averages built into it.
MAS.
Yeah, just capital M, capital A, S. Uh,
Is it a community script?
it's been so long since I added this one on here. I don't even remember. Look,
Is it RSI of MAS?
or maybe just search for moving indicator. Let me see if I can find what I have on here.
Uh, MAS multiple moving average. That one.
That might be it.
That
I've
one.
just liked it so much. I've never taken it off of here. Yeah, I think that's MAS. That's it. I think just throw that on there,
Oh yeah.
and then zoom in on go to like the 3 hour chart.
Okay. Oh yeah. Looking good. This is Ethereum.
Okay. I don't know how well it'll do on
You want
Ethereum,
you
but
want
I mean
on
on
Bitcoin?
Bitcoin. Yeah, show it on Bitcoin because Bitcoin is like crazy how well.
Jeez, what a pump. What a 3 hour
Yeah.
pump. That's a nice 3 hour pump right there. Oh, you're
So if
talking
you kind
about
of
the like it'll do a reversal every 3 hours.
well, no. So this is there. These are the. It's going to be a 3 hour candle, right? So every 3 hours, but I've tend to found that when it is running, when it's in an uptrend, it will bump and run off the 20 moving average. So that the top moving average there on the 3 hour, it when it's in an uptrend, like if you scale back
Oh
to
yeah, for sure. I'm seeing that now. Yeah,
let's
but
see, if you scale
it
back to
hits
like
the top of it
October,
and then runs and then hits the top and then runs.
yeah, and then
Yep.
every once in a while they dip down to like the second one, so which would be the 50,
Right, the
and it'll
green
bounce
one. Yep.
back and run. And then when it's in really like a recovery, it'll drop all the way down to the 200. It'll hit the 200 and then bounce off of that and go straight. I wish I could show you my chart here because it
That's
goes
nice.
straight above. It'll bounce from the 200 all the way back to above the 20. And so it's like it's always either going to hit the 20, the 50, or the 200. And then as soon as it does, like I'm almost thinking like the minute that we end up like, because if you look back at my chart, all the times that it is under all four of these moving averages are the times that probably is the best time to sell. Or I mean, no, sorry, best time to buy. But you'd want
Oh,
to
right
really
here.
buy and then sell every time it like
Oh, and there's a red
breaks.
line. Red line too. That's the bottom support. The
Mm-hmm.
bottom support.
Yeah, but you're on the 3 hour, right? And then so
Yeah.
same thing. If you look at the 4 hour, sometimes it respects that pretty well too.
Oh yeah.
Kind of look. Yeah, the 4 hour is a nice one as far as it'll stay on that top line. Um,
Yep.
and then once it's almost like when the times that it does dip below, it's like every time it breaks above, it's immediately a time to buy because it's going to go up at least good. Actually, no, I'm accidentally looking at ETH2. No wonder it's okay. So yeah, so you'll see it'll drop down. Okay, so Bitcoin over the last, what is this, the last 20 days or so,
That's a nice little
it
indicator
looks like
there.
it looks like it's gone down and it's one, two, three, four times has bounced off or like wicked below the 100 moving average. And then immediately, as
Which
soon as
one's
it
the
hits that,
100?
it'll be the third one. So this is it's 20, 50, 100, 200 is what you're looking at.
So
That on the
20, 50, 100, 200.
Um, yeah, I would say for now, like, so scale back a little bit till you're about the November 15th, and then I would switch first to the 3 hour chart,
Okay.
and then actually kind of scroll. You don't know how to do hotkeys on TradingView?
No.
You just type 3H, and it goes to changes. You do 3H enter, and you
Oh,
could do
really?
like, you could do 5, 15, 30, and you just hit 15 enter, and it'll switch to the 15-minute chart.
That's
Okay,
good to
so
know. Good to know. I'm
yeah.
sure all the readers, the viewers out there will appreciate that too.
Yeah. So yeah, you basically though go ahead and go back, like zoom in on the chart a little bit more so you can see the averages here. Um yeah, if you zoom in a bit. But go ahead and scroll back. So 3 hour chart, go back to find a time where it's riding the 20 moving average. Because there's times where are you at? You're in November. Yeah. So like that. Just see how kind of anytime it's in a good uptrend, I'll switch to the 3 hour and you can just see it ride the 3 hour. So like that one right there, just scroll up a little bit.
So the 20 is the red one.
Yeah, 20 is going to be the one that moves fastest with it. It's going to be the top one. So
Okay.
I mean, you just see how it's even when it runs, it comes back down to three and runs up higher. Comes back down to three, runs up higher, and it just does that over and over on this chart here. So I like the three anytime you're in a good uptrend, like a good breakout uptrend, because the 3 hour it'll just keep coming back down and bouncing off it. And then once you break below it, it might be time to close your trade. And
Mm-hmm.
then what I do, like if you switch to the 4 hour chart,
4 hour. Oh, it didn't work. Oh yeah, there we go.
yeah, so you got that. And then if you go back to about November 15th, I think is a great example of this. And zoom out so you can see basically, well, actually don't zoom out much. So go to, it's
Oh,
hard to see because you have this blue shading over everything with your charts, but see that purple line right there?
yeah.
Yeah. So essentially from that drop right there, so you can see it keeps dropping down to add, it might wick below or have a slight close below. But on
Yeah.
your 4 hour chart, it is dropping to this 100 moving average. So it drops once and then it drops again. And you actually didn't even highlight the second one there. But so
Oh,
you can see the big drop
this
and then
one?
another one right after it and another
Oh,
one right
that one.
after it.
Oh yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
even see that one.
Yeah. But see, that one came down perfectly, wicked down to it and then shot back up again. So if you
Right.
look, anytime you're in a longer term uptrend, I like this on the 4 hour because every time you drop, so you get your shorter term trends tend to follow the 20 for the 3 hour. But then when it
Mm-hmm.
drops below that, it seems like as long as we think we're in a bull market, right? At least for a longer trend uptrend, it seems to drop down to the on the 4 hour chart, the 100 moving average, and then immediately shoot up to a new local high. Drop down to the 100, shoot up to a new local high. And it's been doing that for, at least the last 20 days. But if you go back at like months, you'll see multiple patterns like that where it'll do that. It'll drop down to the 100 on the 4 hour chart. And, but you'll see multiple places where it'll ride the 20 on a sharp uptrend, or on a longer case uptrend, it'll come down to the 100.
That's
And
good to know.
I look for that. That's my number one thing that I look at, is just support and resistance lines,
So these
and
are
moving
great buy
averages.
zones then. So like the blue line would
Yeah,
be a good buy zone. The purple line would be an even better buy zone.
yeah, yeah. The purple line, especially, like if you bought every time it hit this purple line, basically until the bear market's over, if you bought at those, you're probably going to be able to sell pretty quickly. And like I said, it's a 4 hour chart, so it's not like you're day trading. It's more like intraday trading, because it looks like every one of those is about 5, 6, 7 candles from the point where it hits the 100 to the point where it hits a new local high, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
those you're talking 24 hours, 28 hours, 20 hours, 32 hours, something like that. So it's not like you have to be at the computer staring at you're not day trading, you're not in and out of trades like that, but you're making a trade. Every few days it'll tap that line, you make a buy, you sell a day later. You maybe that's your goal. The one thing I haven't gone through and done is count these candles, because maybe they all come out to 6 or 7 candles. So maybe you set your buy for 24, or your sell for 24 hours later. You buy every time it hits the 100, and you sell 24 hours later, and that's your pattern. Maybe who
You got
knows?
I got there's
But
two there's two here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red candles, and then here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red candles
yeah, I'm not worried about the
down
red
to the
candles, because the
purple.
red candles, I'm looking at where I'm going to buy. So I'm going to buy when it hits the purple line, right? And then how
Right.
many green candles is it to hit the local high?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So that's 24 hours, right? 4 hours is four, six,
Six times
24
four.
hours,
Yep.
6 4 hour
24.
candles is a 24-hour
30.
period.
6 times 4 is. Is it
So that's your
24 or
20,
30?
yeah, that's your 24
It's
hour period right
24.
there.
Yeah. 5 times 6. Yeah. Okay.
So if that hit that line at 3 in the afternoon, you had a buy set, right? You made a buy. You just come back 3 the next day, because if these are all consistently about 6 candles, it sounds like a good strategy to me, right? If it, and then eventually
Yeah.
it's going to break the downtrend, right? Eventually it's going to like have a good correction. It's going to drop below that line, and then at that point I would stop doing that strategy anymore until I recognized that it had reestablished itself.
Hmm. So this is 24 hours. 24
Mm-hmm.
hours. 24 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 hours. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
just
and I mean, think
about.
about it. Every 24 hours, what happens? The market opens. Every 24 hours, whatever, a new
Right.
trading day starts. But
Yeah,
I'm not
candle
so interested,
close.
because some of those, like those first two, are close together, and then that third one is kind of far away. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
not trying to buy every 24 hours. I'm trying to buy when it hits that purple line, and then sell 24 hours later. You know.
Right.
So you wait for your buying opportunity, which is the 100 moving average, and then if you think it's a 24-hour cycle, that's when you sell.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So I mean, just that's a pattern I've noticed recently. It's a way you could trade it, and you'd have to decide where you wanted your sell to be, because those each one of those peaks is slightly. It's not like it's running the same percentage every time. The only thing that it does seem consistent, it's about 24 hours, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
But if you'd recognized that, when it hit the purple line, looks, a few days ago, you'd be up. You would have either sold when it got above the 20, or you would have still been holding on to it now as it's running, because it hasn't dropped back below the 20 yet. And maybe that's your sell point, is like at the 20. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
So you'd have to work on your own strategy on that. But that's how I look for patterns. I'm very basic on charts. I'm
Yeah.
setting vertical, or not vertical, horizontal support and resistance lines,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm looking for convergences, and I'm looking for patterns on moving averages.
Great. Looks like you're doing good.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that. I like these moving averages here,
yeah.
where it kind
It's
of,
and
because
it's
it really
crazy. The
does.
longer you look,
It really does follow the pattern. Yeah.
yeah, the longer
Hits
you
the
look at them, you're like,
purple,
how
hits
does
the
it so
purple, hits the
reliably bounce
purple,
off of
hits the
them?
purple. Yep.
Yeah, well, and then what happens is if it does break it on whatever time frame you're looking at, if you're looking at the 4 hour and it drops below that last one or the second to last, it drops below the 100, and you go, okay, well, my pattern's broken. What do I look for now? I'll drop from the 4 hour down to the daily. So I'm now looking at
Right.
a bigger, stronger uh, moving average as a resistance. And then if it's below, if it drops below the dailies, then I'm going to be like, I might not buy for a while because we seem to be in a pretty strong downtrend if we're on the, if we're looking for weekly resistances for moving averages now.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's kind of that's the way I look at trade. That's the way my chart is set up. Is I've got moving averages and I've got support and resistance, and I don't feel like I need a lot more. And because I feel like actually, you know what, I do have one more. I have volume on there too, which
Okay.
I don't. I feel like I put it on there, but I don't really use it all that much. Honestly, it's more because you want to. Anytime you get a good big breakout, right? You want to confirm that there's a lot of volume that goes with it to
Yeah.
really confirm that it's a breakout. Because if you get a breakout on the weekend, but there's no volume, it just means somebody made a big buy once, and then there's like nobody else to counteract the trade because it's the weekend and there's nobody else trading. Um, but you want to confirm breakouts with volume. But I don't even really look at it all that much. It's one that I'm not a huge thing for me as a volume. But I mean, if you do look at like we had a volume candle. Actually, our biggest volume candle in the 4 hour happened on Tuesday the 28th. So that would have been this last Tuesday. So we actually have had even less volume since then, which is surprising with how much it's pumped today. But it is the weekend, so it takes a lot less to move it on the weekend. That's why you'd be looking for a big volume candle tomorrow to confirm that you're above 40,000 and staying above 40,000. You want a lot of volume to come in and back that up tomorrow.
Right. And I think it will.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I think 40,000 is another big psychological barrier. I think more and more people are getting FOMO, and so I think people are going to continue to buy in, and then yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm looking at this thing here, this cipher twister. It's really a great indicator. And so this is like momentum here. And so it's still going because
Yeah,
it'll top out and then crash, and go down. But right now we're still on the way up,
right.
on
So
the
those
daily.
are those bearish divergences playing out on the chart though? I can't really see on there. Are they?
Uh, Not really, because it's such a small bearish divergence.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Also, too, you know
because
what? One of
there'll
my
be like a
favorite things.
bearish divergence, and then it's just like, you know, really not a lot of volume for the
Yeah,
bearish divergence, and then right after that, it just hits a bullish divergence. So it's
right.
turns right around.
So, you want to know one of my favorite parts about the bull market?
Yeah.
Uh, Bearish indicators don't matter.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
for sure. Yeah.
it's like you'll see people because I follow a lot of people that are some really good traders, really good analysts, way better than I'll ever be. But they'll be like, "Oh, it's looking like we're about to hit this resistance, or there's a bearish divergence forming, or blah 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 blah." And I've seen a lot of that in the last like 2 3 weeks, and we
Yeah.
just keep going up
I
because
mean,
sometimes when you're in the bull market, it's like what is it
the weekly is where I would look for the real bearish divergence.
yeah,
That'd be the real one, but I don't see
yeah,
it coming anytime soon.
yeah, no, probably not. But the I just think it's so yeah, I think I think it's so funny. It's like you'll see see somebody talking about like what is it? Is it a wedge that's a, a a wedge that has the 70%, it's 70% chance of a wedge being a breakout, or no, it's what it is it's a rising wedge, right? It has a 70% chance of rejecting, breaking out back to the downside,
Mm-hmm.
so, which means there's a 30% chance of breaking out to the upside, right? But during a bull market, that 30% becomes like 90%. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's like when you are in the bull market, Bitcoin just likes to behave. It likes to go up. And so like when you have a chance for a breakout, no matter if it's a bullish or a bearish like pattern on the chart, it's almost always going to break bullish.
Right.
No matter what the wedge is, no matter what the flag is, you get a bear flag and it could break up or it could break down, but it's a bear flag, so it's probably going to break down. It's going to break up because it's the bull market. It's just the way that it works, and it's really fascinating. I love watching it happen because it's fun. So we're in for, I think, the next 18 months are going to be very fun. Um, but
Yeah, and I
I'm much more
also.
prepared.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say it's going to be very fun, but I am much more prepared this time around. I have plans to take lots of profits and
Yeah.
to walk away from this bull market holding a lot less than I hold now with lots more profits, so that next time it comes back
Yeah.
down, I will be in a lot better shape to reinvest, which I wasn't so much this time. I didn't think Bitcoin was at the top yet. This time, I'm not going to worry about where the top is. I'm going to take profits the whole way up.
That's the way to do
And
it.
yeah, and then even if I miss the top and don't make my big sell, I still will have taken lots of profits on the way up anyways, and I'm not reinvesting those until it goes back down. So I have my rules set. I'm much more ready, and it's going to be a good bull market. I'm excited.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, um, is there anything else you want to cover?
I mean,
We're running at over an hour now, so.
yeah. I mean, I think that's it. I'm sure you'll edit it down to something good. Only thing, I'll end it the
Yeah.
same way I ended the last one. Price predictions.
Oh yeah, price predictions. So
What do you think? What do you think will be end of the week? What do you
so
think will
my
be end of the
my
month?
price prediction is way different now since the last time you asked me.
Uh huh.
Um, so end of the week, that's next Sunday or
Yeah,
yeah.
Friday or Sunday, depending on which way you want to look at it. We don't
Okay,
have to
let's
count weekend. We
say
don't have to count weekend trading because they can be erratic.
okay, we'll say Saturday. I think by Saturday it'll hit 40. Oh, here we go. Okay, so by Saturday it'll hit 42 for sure, I think. And then by the end of the month, we could see it running up to 52. And then, I mean, um, yeah, I'm not going to go any higher than that. And then I think we'll have a nice correction back down to maybe the bottom of this channel. So it would be
Hmm.
probably around there. So correction back to 46,000. Yeah, so it's pretty much just going up from here.
Well, but I mean, you're 46,000. That your chart puts that in April, right? Or no? What am I?
Um,
Where do you got 46,000? That's going to be is that middle bold line, the top line of your first channel. Yeah, 46,000. That's going to put you in like May or June. The way your
okay.
chart's going.
Yeah, so if we keep following this trend, we basically went from here to here, almost double in 2 months. So if we could do that again, another 2 months, will put us at 52,000. So I'd say 2 months
Okay.
at 52,000. 1 month 42,000. No. 1 month 48,000. 2 months 52,000. That's what I'm
Okay.
gonna say. And by the end of the week, I think 42,000.
Okay, so I like that. I think we have a good Santa rally this year. Um, I mean, I think I'm about in line with yours. I think last time we talked, did you predict it would go down a little bit? I think,
I did, yeah, and it
and I
did
predicted it
not.
would. Yeah, it went up. I was sort of right, but I predicted it would be 40,000. I think I said by the end of November, or no? When did we talk last? Was it October?
Oh
I think
yeah,
I said it in
it's been a couple months.
I think I said 36,000 maybe because I think we were at like 34 or something. So I think I said 36 to 40 by the end of October, and it ended up not being there till the end of November. And I said 50,000 by the end of the year. I am now gonna say, let's see, December. What's today? December 3rd. So I'm going to say that we are going from here either tomorrow or Tuesday. We will bounce off of 43, come back down, correct a little bit, maybe tap your channel that you have there, maybe come down to 40 and confirm 40. I also actually, you know what? I have 30. What is it? I have 30. I've got 38 as a support and resistance line. Worst case scenario, we come down to 38. I think we're going to bounce up 43. We're going to come down to 40, maybe 38, but probably just to 40 or 41. Then I think we're going to work our way up to 48. I think we'll bounce off 48, come back down again, and I think we're going to be somewhere between like 44 to 52 at the end of the month. I do think that 48 is going to be a hard resistance because that's our lunar resistance, it's our terror resistance that is 20 months old at this point. And so we will see what happens there. But after we blow through that, I think we hit 50, we hit 52 minor resistances, and then I think we're off to the races. But that might not be, fingers crossed, that'll be in December, but it's probably not going to be till January. Um,
Yeah, we could even see it running up to 100K by the end of January. Who knows?
we could, and actually, you know what? I was forgetting about ETFs this whole
Yeah,
time I've been talking.
I was too. That's what I
Okay,
just thought of. Yeah.
okay. So let me. I'm going to cut my time frame in half. So I think
Yeah.
we this week hit 43, correct back down, then go back up to 48. I think we're going to be at 48 within. So today's Sunday the 3rd. I think we're at 48 within 2 weeks from today. Uh, then I think we are actually with the ETFs coming. I think people are going to expect there's going to be a lot of FOMO when we hit 50, and then a lot of ETF FOMO. And I think by the time Christmas and New Year's rolls around, I think we're actually going to be 60K roughly. 58 to 62. I don't think we'll be at all time highs yet, but actually, I think ETF hype, unless there's like news that comes in that it's getting delayed or getting canceled, I think by New Year's we're at 58 to 62. That's my new prediction actually, because I wasn't thinking about ETFs, but yeah, that's what I think. Those are my resistances that I'm looking at, and that's what I think the hype, where the way FOMO and hype is going. I think we're going to move quickly. We're going to start moving real quick.
Yeah, I even saw some bullish stuff from Gary Gensler. They asked him, um, you know, do you expect a spot Bitcoin ETF to be approved by the SEC? And he said, I don't see why not.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, he's been so embarrassed so much. He's going to try to position himself as the hero. But
yeah, for
okay,
sure.
so that's my price prediction. We'll see what happens. As long as I don't really even care if it goes up or down in the short term, as long as it's moving, as long as it's going at least at 2% per day, so I can be making profits and buys, I'm fine with it. But it would be nice just to be in the bull market. It'd be fun. It'll be fun. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
it'll be nice.
Yep. Okay.
We're
Cool.
back. I mean, we broke out of this descending thing,
Yeah.
so we're back. We're so
Well, I mean,
back.
I was telling everybody what a year ago, like way before we came back up. I told my trading group. I probably told you multiple times. I said as soon as we break 25, that means we're in a new bull market, or at least the end of the bear market. I said that forever because we bounced off at 25 a couple times, and we bounced off at 20, and then we bounced off at 18. But then we'd keep pushing above 20, and it would look like, oh, we might do it, and people get really excited. And I was
Yep.
like, it's a short term. Like 25 for me was the confirmation. As soon as we break 25, will be there. We broke 25, went right up to 30, and then we spent a little while above 30, then a little while below 30. We dropped back down to 25, and I think we hit 24.9, and then we bounced back up again. But like 25 was our hard resistance that then turned into hard support, and we bounced off of 25, and now we're here at 40. So.
Yeah, it's so crazy how just a matter of weeks can really make a huge difference in the market.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's my prediction. That's where I think we're going. I'm just hoping that before I go to bed, ETH shoots up about another $12 so I can make a nice profit here. It hits my take profit, so we'll see.
Awesome. Well, hey man,
Yeah.
thanks for joining us today on the Crypto Power Hour. I could talk to you about crypto all day, but we gotta stop sometime. So I think an hour is good. Otherwise, we'd be going for hours. But thank you for joining us. And anything else you want to say?
No, I mean, that was it. I don't really post anything online crypto related, so don't look for me on that. I don't post alpha. I've always thought about it, and then I've been like, yeah, I can't stick to posting every day. So if you want to see me post about jujitsu and occasionally rollerblading and my dog, you can follow me on Instagram at Cunningham. I got my belts and medals and stuff up there. But other than that, if you don't care about jiu-jitsu and don't care about my wife or my fluffy white dog, then don't follow. I don't know. I don't care. But
I think we all love and care about you guys, and I think you'll get a bunch of followers from our group because we got a great community here. And
okay.
So have a great night, Ryan, and thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, you too.
Yep.
All right, man. Talk to you later.
See you next time.
All right. Bye.
Aloha.
Aloha.